Let me tell you a hard truth. If you need to play games to keep someone's attention, you've already lost their respect. Think about it. If your value depends on pretending not to care, waiting hours to text back, or acting unavailable, then what happens when you show up as your real self? They vanish. And deep down, you know it. But here's the secret nobody tells you. Real high value doesn't come from pretending, it comes from being someone who doesn't need to pretend. Welcome to today's video. We're diving into one of the most misunderstood topics in dating, relationships, and even life: how to be high value without playing games. For years, you've been fed tactics. Don't text first. Always let them chase. Act like you have options. But let's be real, that's exhausting, and worse, it creates relationships built on fear, not respect. High value isn't about manipulating someone's attention. It's about developing the kind of self-worth, confidence, and emotional intelligence that makes people respect you whether you're in the room or not. And here's the best part. Once you understand the psychology, the patterns, and the truth about what actually makes someone unforgettable, you'll never need to fake it again. So if you've ever felt like you had to play small, play hard to get, or play mind games just to keep someone interested, this video is for you. Picture this. You're dating someone new. At first, everything feels exciting. Texts fly back and forth, late-night conversations, plans for the weekend. But then, suddenly, silence. They pull away, respond slower, or act distant. Your friends tell you, don't text them first. TikTok tells you, make them chase, and deep down, you start to wonder if your worth depends on how well you can hide your feelings. So, you play the game. You wait hours to respond. You act like you're busy, even when you're not. You mirror their coldness to stay in control, but instead of making them value you, you feel even more insecure. You're glued to your phone, wondering when they'll notice you again. That doesn't feel like power, it feels like prison. And here's the truth. The people who respect you the most are the ones you never had to play games with. Why do people play games in relationships? It's because our brains are wired for scarcity and fear. When someone pulls away, our survival brain interprets it as loss of connection, and connection equals safety. To protect ourselves, we create strategies: withholding, pretending, or overthinking. But here's what psychology reveals. Attraction isn't built on manipulation, it's built on consistency and authenticity. Studies in relationship psychology show that emotional stability and self-worth are far more magnetic than fake mystery. Think about it. When you're genuinely high value, you don't need to chase or play hard to get, because your life is already full, your boundaries are strong, and your energy is too valuable to waste. And that confidence? It's irresistible. So the question isn't, how can I play the game better? It's, how do I build the kind of value that makes the game irrelevant? That's what we're uncovering today. Here's the part most dating advice leaves out. You don't play games because you like them, you play games because of old wounds. Maybe you grew up with love that was inconsistent. Parents who gave affection one day but withheld it the next. Or maybe you learned early that approval had to be earned by being perfect, quiet, or useful. So now, when someone you care about pulls back, it feels like history repeating itself, and suddenly, you're the child again, scrambling for scraps of attention. This is why so many smart, capable, high-achieving people fall into unhealthy dating patterns. They don't lack value, they lack clarity about their wounds. If your wound is abandonment, you'll cling harder when someone distances themselves. If your wound is rejection, you'll take every unanswered text as proof you're not good enough. If your wound is neglect, you'll overinvest to earn the love you should never have to beg for. And here's the truth bomb. No amount of delayed texting, pretending you don't care, or playing hard to get can heal those wounds. In fact, games only deepen them. Because real high value isn't about being unavailable, it's about being unshakable. When you stop chasing validation and start tending to your own wounds, you stop needing to play games altogether. That's when you become magnetic in a way no trick can replicate. Here's the trap. When you sense someone pulling away, your nervous system goes into panic mode. And instead of staying grounded, you default to one of two extremes. You chase harder, or you play harder to get. Both are just sides of the same coin: fear. So how do you avoid this? You build habits that anchor you in your value, even when someone else's behavior feels uncertain. Step 1. Recognize your triggers. Notice the moments you feel that urge to play a game, like waiting 3 hours to reply just because they took 3 hours. That's not confidence. That's fear disguised as strategy. Step 2. Anchor in your standards. Instead of reacting to their behavior, act from your values. If consistency matters to you, say it. If respect matters, set boundaries around it. This isn't a game, it's self-respect. Step 3. Fill your life with self-sourced value. People lose themselves in dating when their entire worth is tied to one person's attention. Build a life so full, friends, passions, goals, that someone else's inconsistency doesn't rock your foundation. Step 4. Practice emotional detachment. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about yourself enough not to tolerate crumbs. When you're detached, you can love fully without losing yourself. This is how you stop playing games without becoming a doormat. You stop reacting from wounds and start responding from worth. Let's break down the biggest myths that are quietly destroying your self-worth and making you feel like you need to play games just to be attractive. Myth number 1. Playing hard to get is confidence. No, it's not. Playing hard to get is avoidance wrapped in strategy. Confidence is when you don't need to pretend you're busy, because your life is already full and valuable. Myth number 2. High-value people never show interest first. This is toxic nonsense. High value isn't about who texts first. It's about how you show up. You can absolutely express interest, but from abundance, not desperation. Myth number 3. If they don't chase, they don't care. Chasing is not love. Sometimes people genuinely respect space, pace themselves, or move differently. High value means you don't measure love by pursuit, but by consistency and respect. Myth number 4. The more unavailable you are, the more attractive you'll be. This one's dangerous. Yes, mystery has its role, but emotional unavailability doesn't build real love, it builds trauma bonds. Real attraction thrives on healthy availability, not constant withholding. Myth number 5. Games equal power. Here's the truth. Games are not power, they're proof of insecurity. The strongest energy in the room is calm, consistent, and certain. People respect what feels steady, not manipulative. When you let go of these myths, you stop chasing validation through tricks, and start attracting through presence, authenticity, and grounded self-worth. Here's the truth. When you finally stop buying into the myths and chasing validation through games, something inside you shifts. You go from constantly wondering, what do they think of me, to asking, do they even deserve access to me? That's the identity shift of true high-value energy. Sparkles, you become someone who doesn't send desperate texts, because you're too busy living a life that excites you. Sparkles, you become someone who doesn't wait by the phone, because you already feel complete, with or without their reply. Sparkles. You become someone who doesn't crumble when people pull away, because your worth was never based on their attention. Instead of being a player in someone else's game, you step into the role of the prize. You radiate calm confidence. You command respect not by force, but by presence. And the ironic twist? The moment you stop needing people to validate you, they start chasing you. Not because you manipulated them, but because you became magnetic by being fully, unapologetically yourself. That's what being truly high value looks like, not pretending, not performing, but embodying. So here's the final truth. Being high value has nothing to do with playing games, and everything to do with living life so authentically that you don't need them to choose you. Now I want to hear from you. Right finger, which of these shifts hit you the hardest? Right finger, was it realizing you don't need to chase, or understanding that silence is more powerful than over-explaining? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because your story might be the exact one that inspires someone else to break their old patterns. And if you're tired of shrinking yourself for people who can't see your worth, hit that subscribe button, because every week on Unshakable we go deep into the psychology of attraction, self-worth, and building a life that naturally draws the right people in. Remember, you don't have to play games to win. You win by being so grounded, so secure, and so magnetic in your own identity, that the wrong people disqualify themselves, and the right ones are drawn in effortlessly. This is your reminder. You are the prize. Walk in that energy. The world has no choice but to respect it.